My name is JoJo. Welcome to your hour-long prenatal yoga class. This class also works great for anyone who may not be pregnant, but it's also a great option for someone who's expecting a child who is in their first or second trimester. Can work for someone who's in their third trimester as well. I just like to offer a word of caution that we'll be balancing, which can be potentially tricky. So go at your own pace and listen to your body. And if you start something and realize it's not working for you today, then you can always skip it and join back whenever you're ready. So for this class today, you'll need a bolster or a nice pillow and 2 blocks. If you don't have blocks, then a nice hefty book or stack of books might do the job. You could even use like a nice big can of beans, can of corn. So you'll need those 2 blocks and that 1 bolster or sturdy pillow. We're going to get started in a seated position. And if you're at home and you want to, in your seated position, be in a chair, that's great. If you'd like to be on the floor, you could use a bolster or a block underneath you. I'm going to grab a block over here, just to raise my hips a little bit higher away from the floor and give my hips some more space to open up. So your comfortable seat may be cross-legged, or it may be more of a butterfly with feet together. Whatever's most comfortable for you, to just invite some space into your hips, your low back. And sit up tall. Become aware of your long, tall spine. And if you like, you can bring hands to your belly here to greet your baby and welcome your baby into your practice as well. Tune in to your whole body. You could close your eyes if that makes you feel more tuned into your body. If closing your eyes is activating for you, no need to do so. You could just soften your face, maybe turn your gaze toward the tip of your nose. And just bring your awareness to your body and your breath, the 2 things that help to anchor you in the present moment. Sensation and breath. Today, we're going to focus on being present. Being with your experience, holding space for yourself, being present on your mat in this very moment. Using your body and your breath just breathe for a moment. Anytime you lose your connection to your breath or your mind begins to wander, hey, it's totally fine. Give yourself a break. And then return again to your breath. space around you. Send your awareness out through your ears. See what you can hear. And then open your eyes if they were closed. Have a nice soft focus. So you can use your peripheral vision. You can see all of the room. Release your hands, maybe bringing some extra little sensations into your fingers. You could wiggle your fingers, roll your wrists. Maybe you take your thumb and just rub the pad of each finger, pointer finger to pinky. Let your hands rest again on your legs. And start to find some movements with your neck. Take your neck in little circles. Avoid crunching the back of your neck when your head goes back. So your chin's going up rather than stretching all the way back. Just make some little circles. One ear comes toward the shoulder and then the other. And circle the other way. Being very careful with the back of your neck when you go back. Let that go. Take your right ear toward your right shoulder. Let your left arm float out to the side and turn your thumb down toward the ground. Lift with your chest, broaden your collarbones, stretch out the top of your left shoulder and along through the side of your neck. Center. Roll your shoulders up to your ears, down your back a few times. And let it go. Let your left ear drop toward your shoulder and reach your right arm out. Turn your thumb to face down. Broaden the collarbone on your right side and the shoulder plugs into the socket. And release. And roll your shoulders out again, down your back. And let it go. And let your whole torso start to go in little circles. I like to call this stirring the pot. Like a spoon going around in a big bowl. Lubricating the joints in the hips and finding some spinal flexibility and fluidity. And take it the other way. Let your breath continue to move you. Always coming back again and again. The breath and the body right here, right now. Go, come back to center, and then take your right arm, reach it out to the side and all the way up into the air. bow out your right side and feel the stretch as it opens up the little intercostal muscles between your ribs, giving your organs some more space. Inhale, rise. Exhale, drop your arm all the way down. Inhale, lift your left arm out and up. And stretch your left side out to the left. Inhale, rise, and exhale, release your arm. We're going to move into a tabletop position on hands and knees. If you're in a chair, come down very carefully, maybe one hand staying on the chair at all times, down to your knees. If you're on the floor and you've got a prop, you could slide that out from underneath you and then turn your knees to the floor and your hands line up under your shoulders, your knees under your hips. I've got a pretty cushy mat, but if you have a thinner mat and you want some more cushion, you could take a blanket that's maybe folded, or a folded towel, place it under your knees or your hands, or both. And let your belly really hang toward the floor. Dip in your back to push your belly down. Pull your heart through your arms, lift your chin ever so slightly, coming into your cow pose. Inhale. Exhale and round your back. Push your spine toward the ceiling. Open between your shoulder blades and let your head tuck down for your cat pose, like a scared cat. And we'll flow through these a few more times, using your breath as your roadmap. Inhale, send your belly down. Open your chest and look up and out. Exhale, round your back. Pull your spine up high. Inhale, let your belly hang toward the floor and stretch your chest out, your neck, your throat. Exhale, stretch the back of your neck, the spot between your shoulder blades. Flow through a couple more times, using your breath as your guide. Going completely at your own pace. Keeping your mind on your breath and your body, right here, right now. You're beginning to develop this communication with your body at this time already, just because there's changes happening, you're listening more intently, you've got different sensations. We're really going to cultivate that communication between you and your body, picking up on your signals, getting to know when you're craving rest, when you're craving a certain movement, and being kind to yourself, giving your body what it needs and nourishing it. Let this be your last round. Finish up with your cat, your spine arching toward the ceiling. And then on your next inhale, take it back to a neutral spine. Inhale and lift your right hand, take it behind your head, and then lift your elbow into the air. Open up your chest. Shine your heart out to the side. Your elbow may not point all the way up, that's okay. Just keep rolling that shoulder down and opening your chest. Inhale, lift. Exhale, give it a little tuck so your elbow points toward the ground. Inhale, expand. And exhale, relax. One more time. Inhale, open up. And exhale, release. Take your hand all the way to the floor. Inhale, lift your left hand to the back of your head and open up your elbow to the ceiling, your chest to the side. And release. Couple more times. Inhale, expand your chest, point your elbow up. Exhale, release. Inhale, expand. Exhale, release. Your hand comes all the way down. And then we're going to make our way into a plank position. Tuck your toes and lift your knees. Maybe you walk your feet out behind you. This plank creating strength in your arms, shoulders, and upper chest. And shoot your hips back. Maybe your feet step or adjust. And find your downward facing dog. Now, here might be a good time to grab some blocks. So if you're in your plank position, you want a little more space, you can take 2 blocks for the top of your mat on any height setting that you like. And start off your plank here, and then shift your hips back and step the soles of your feet down. You've got a little more room for an expanding belly in your downward facing dog with use of your blocks, or these could be stacks of books. If you have a chair, you could also even use the back of the chair, or if you've got a wall, you could take it to the wall or the chair. You're going to want to be close to a wall later on, but we'll get there. For now, be present with all the sensations happening in your downward facing dog. Your blocks could be on any level. What's happening with hips, low back? What's happening with the backs of the legs? It can help to remain present in a posture rather than shying away from sensation, to just scan through, observe sensation closely. Now start to step your feet toward the top of your mat. Or if your hands are on the ground, maybe your hands walk toward your feet, maybe they meet in the middle. For a nice ragdoll pose. Keep your feet a little wider than your hips to accommodate space for your growing belly, for your baby. Soft knees, and if you've got blocks, you can feel free to keep the hands right there on the blocks. If you don't have the blocks or you want to move them away, you could let your arms dangle, or you could grab for opposite elbows. It can be really nice to support with blocks here. Let your head go down and the back of your neck extend. Then turn your toes so they point out, maybe toward the corners of your mat. Bend your knees, sink your hips, and come into a squatting position with your legs turned. So your knees and your toes are out a little wider. You could keep blocks here for support for your hands, or if you've got blocks, you could take 1 or 2 under your seat. So this is what it looks like with 2. And actually sit down onto the blocks and open up some space on your inner thighs. And this eliminates some focus on balance, and so that you feel more steady, you can send all your attention to opening some space in your thighs and hips. If you've got blocks out in front of you, you can use them as support for your hands. And it's okay if your heels don't quite reach the ground, especially if your hands are supported on the floor or blocks. Breathe in and out. With every exhale, see if you can release something. Just let something go. Being kind to yourself. We're going to come out of this slow. So if you're sitting back on blocks, then you may want to kind of come up to a standing and then take your hands and slide the blocks back out in front of you. Coming to this nice ragdoll pose, your legs a little wider than hip width distance. Then we're going to come all the way up to stand. Lift all the way into a tall standing position. Going to make a little adjustment here. So you're in your tall standing. And this might be a good time to move toward a wall. Just so you've got, if you're feeling a little off balance today, you've got kind of a safety net. Just you can always reach out and touch it and ground and feel a little more secure. So keep your blocks right where they are if they're out in front of you. Inhale and bring your arms up over your head. Find this long, tall standing position. Feet maybe a little wider than hip width distance apart. The soles of your feet melting into the floor. Pull your kneecaps up your knees. Grow strong in the legs and the glutes. Reach up high. Inhale. Exhale, draw your hands into your heart center. Bring your palms together. And as your hands come in toward your heart, imagine that you're bringing some light and love in towards your heart. Gather it up. Take an inhale. On your exhale, hinge at your hips. Soften your knees. Drop your hands to the blocks. Inhale. And pull your spine in a long line. Shoot the crown of your head forward for your halfway lift. If you've got blocks, then you can keep your hands right there on the blocks and maybe your elbows straighten out. And then on your exhale, maybe your elbows bend and your head hangs low. And we're going to flow through that a couple more times. Use your breath to be your roadmap. If you don't have blocks, remember you could also be using the wall for your halfway lift. So you could be here, folding in, and then take your hands to the wall. Or you could be side to the wall. Inhale, extend up, stand tall. Exhale, bring your hands together in towards your heart. Gather up some light and love. Bring it in. Inhale. Exhale, hinge at your hips and fold. You can take hands to blocks or the wall. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen your spine. Exhale and release. Inhale, stand up tall. Arms come up over your head. Open your heart. Exhale, bring it into your heart. Whatever that joy or peace or light looks like to you, bring it in. Welcome it. Inhale. Exhale and fold. Hands to blocks or the wall. Inhale, stretch up halfway, flat back. Exhale, relax and release. Now if you've got hands on blocks or the wall, you can walk your feet back. Maybe you find a plank, or maybe you skip it and go to downward facing dog. If you want to take your plank, tuck your toes, let your hips shift and come into your plank. Nice and strong arms, strong chest, strong back. And then slide your hips back and make your way to your downward facing dog. You can take an option of this at the wall with your hands on the wall for some length in your back. Stretch it out wherever you are. Find some space in your low back, hips tipping up. And then drop to your knees. You could just take the blocks a little wider, give your hands some space to find the floor, and take a cat-cow. Or rather a cow-cat. So let your belly drop. Inhale, look up and out. Exhale, round your back and press it toward the sky. Let your head fall. Inhale, come back to your neutral tabletop position. Then if you've got blocks, draw them in. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, downward facing dog. You could also take this at the wall or the chair. Then walk your feet forward and find that ragdoll pose. Forward folding, your feet a little wider than your hips. And stand all the way up tall. You can use the wall or the chair for this next pose, or you could still be, your side facing the wall, whichever works best for you. I'll demo if you want your back to the wall. We're going to come into a chair position. So it's kind of like that floating chair. Bend your knees and scoot down. Press your back to the wall. Or you can take this, maybe one hand is just lightly touching the wall. Bend your knees and sink your hips down. You could also sit into your chair. And then we're going to add a twist here. Bring your hands together. And sit down low into your strong chair. Feel the strength in your awesome legs and quads. Take your right hand and hook it to your left thigh. Your right arm can come up, maybe fingers on the wall, or if you're seated against the wall, your arm can come up like so. Or even if you're sitting in a chair, you can take this twist. Keep on breathing. One more inhale. Exhale, find a forward fold. Even if you're sitting in a chair, you can just kind of come forward, lengthen out your back. Or if you're against the wall, just find a little room for your back. And take the other side. Your left hand comes to your right leg, and right arm goes up. And if you're standing so that one side is toward the wall, I actually like to kind of take it around all the way to the other side so that you still got a space for your hand at the wall. Broaden your collarbones. Breathe into the lungs in your chest. Feeling them inflate and deflate, always coming back again and again to the breath in the body. Tune in carefully and closely. And release. Find a forward fold. Then we're gonna make our way back to plank and a down dog. If you feel like skipping it, that's fine, it's a-okay. This is just an offer. Anything I give is just an offer, just a suggestion. If you'd like to take your plank and your downward facing dog, maybe your cat-cow, you can take hands to blocks or the floor. Walk your hands back. Maybe you want to take a down dog at the wall without the plank, so you can just walk your hands down the wall and stretch out. Or if you're taking your plank, walk your feet back, nice and strong, like a goddess, pressing away the blocks or the floor. Then tip your hips back, maybe walk your feet forward and stretch your tailbone up high into the air. If you want to take a cat-cow, maybe you drop one knee and then the other. Walk your hands away from the blocks. Start with your cow, dip your belly down, look up, and move your spine up for your cat. We're going to come back up to stand. And this time we're going to want to be near a wall if you're not already. And you're going to want to have your side toward the wall. So from your down dog, walk your feet forward or your hands back or both. Slowly roll up all the way into your tall spine. And you want your left side to be near a wall. Maybe your left hand finds the wall for balance. Your left foot comes forward and your right foot goes back. And then your right foot rolls just slightly out. So it's not all the way. Your hips still face toward the top of your mat, but you've got maybe a 45-degree angle with your back foot, so your heel can slice down into the floor. And then maybe you've got the one hand on the wall, your other arm can come up, maybe both arms come up. Or you can take hand to hip. If you want some more grounding and stability, your hand comes to your hip. If you want more opening through the chest, then your arm can come up. This is your warrior one. Bend through your front knee. And lift with your sternum. Tune in to all the sensations from your soles of your feet up through the crown of your head. And release. Then transition with one hand on the wall, roll your hips a little further open and your back foot turns wider out. You may walk your feet a little bit further away from each other and open up through your hips for your warrior two. Front knee remains bending and tracking over your front ankle. Then take one arm forward and one arm back. You can, for more stability, walk yourself closer to the wall and have your back against the wall for some support. One arm forward, one arm back. And breathe. This is your space, so claim it. You own this mat and this space, this body and this breath is all for you. Come up and scoot your feet a little closer together. Taking a little break, maybe you wiggle out. You can roll out your wrists, your shoulders, whatever feels good. Developing that communication with your body. What does it crave? If you've got blocks, you'll want to take one block close to the wall and on the highest height setting or maybe the middle height setting, come back into your warrior two. Bend your front knee so it tracks over your ankle. Claim the space on your mat. One arm goes forward and one goes back. Your back backing up to the wall. Reach out your arm and take your hand to the block. And lift your back foot up off the ground for your half moon. Keep reaching with your top arm. Reach it up into the air and use the wall behind you to support you and balance you. If you want to skip this, you want to repeat your warrior two, by all means. Feel the freedom to do whatever your body asks of you. If you're in your half moon balancing, awesome. Come down slow, bend your knee, drop your foot. And then stand up to your warrior two. And stand up tall, walk your feet around. And face the long edge of your mat. Pick up your block, take it to the other side, turning around so that the other side is close to the wall. You've got a new top of your mat. So we just went around in 180 degrees. Starting with our warrior one. So your back toes are not turned out all the way. Your hips point towards this new top of your mat. Bend your front knee and open up your hip creases. One hand on the wall, you can take the other to hip or belly or up into the air. Notice how even if I take this arm up into the air, I can rest the back of my hand against the wall just for a little bit of stability. Strengthen your legs, your back thigh strengthening up. Pull your back kneecap up your leg. Take another inhale, and on your exhale, let it go. Turn your back heel further down, your back toes come further out, and maybe you walk your foot a little further back. Maybe you scoot a little closer to the wall. For your warrior two, claim the space on your mat. This mat, this body, this breath is all for you. One arm comes forward and the other goes back. And let this wall behind you allow your chest to open. Rest your back against the wall. Brilliant. Come back to the breath, always. Deep and slow. And let it go. Maybe you walk your feet a little closer. Take some wiggles if you like. We're getting ready to balance in our half moon. If half moon's not for you, that's fine. Right now, let yourself off the hook and listen to whatever your body wants. If you do crave a half moon, come back to your warrior two. Then take your hand down to the block, your back up against the wall, and kick your back leg off the ground. If you prefer to repeat your warrior two here, gaining strength in your strong legs, then by all means, you can find your lunge and find that nice strong warrior pose. If you're up against the wall in your half moon, open up by reaching your top arm high. Let that expand your chest. Take your last breath in. And then drop very gingerly back down, coming through the warrior two, and then walk your feet around so you're facing the long edge of your mat. And wiggle out whatever needs it. Listen in what's really craving. A little bit of movement. And we're gonna stay here with back to the wall. Walk your feet out and turn your toes toward the corners of your mat. Bend your knees. Where your toes go, your knees go, so your knees come out wide. You can scoot back so you're resting against the wall. Take your hands to your thighs and hold here for a moment. You're finding a really wonderful, impressive, awe-inspiring strength right here in your quads, your thighs. You've got this. Now add some little shoulder dips here, opening up through your shoulders. You can slide your right hand a little further down your inner thigh, perhaps. Use that as leverage. Dip your right shoulder down and look up and over your left. Inhale, come center. Exhale, switch. Dip your left shoulder down, look over your right. A few more times. Inhale, center. Exhale, dip your right shoulder. Inhale, center. Exhale, dip your left. One more full round through. Inhale, center. Exhale, dip. Inhale, center. And exhale, dip. Inhale, center. Hold for your exhale. And then stand up tall with your legs straight. Maybe your arms come up for a little added stretch through the chest. You remember, you can always take hands to the wall behind you. Turn your toes so they point forward. Scoot your feet, toe heel, back toward the center. We're going to take one last balancing posture at the wall here. So with your back to the wall, or you could turn so that your side's to the wall again here. So if you're turning with your side to the wall, then start with your left side facing the wall. And we're going to come into a tree pose. So lift your right heel away from the floor and spin your right knee out to the right. So your hip rolls open, and then pull the sole of your foot so it touches the inside of your other foot or leg. You could have toe on the floor as a kickstand, or maybe rest your foot on the ankle or the calf. So if your back is to the wall, you can take your palms to the wall, lift with your chest, or you can take palms together in front of your chest. If your side is to the wall, maybe this one hand stays here and the other comes to hip or belly, or even heart. Anchor yourself in the present moment without any judgment. So if you're wobbling, if you're stepping, it's okay. Meet yourself where you're at today. And know that it could be different from yesterday or tomorrow. One more inhale. Exhale, slide your foot back down, release your arms. If your side is to the wall, you'll want to turn 180 degrees so your other side comes to the wall. And then lift your left heel and spin your left leg open. Bring the sole of your foot to meet somewhere along your right foot, ankle, calf. And keep opening with the hips so the knee points out. Hands could be on the wall or at your chest, or one hand on the wall if your side is to it. The other hand can find hip or belly or heart, anywhere that makes you feel like you're getting the most benefit out of the posture. This is all for you. Be kind to yourself and welcome all the aspects and versions of you, yesterday, today, and tomorrow, into your practice. let it go. Your foot comes down to the ground. Your arms can relax. You can pick whichever the top of your mat wants to be, whichever end of your mat. We're gonna come back down toward the ground. So we're gonna come to a down dog. You have the option to find a plank. You can use the wall or the chair. If you've got blocks, you may want to grab those and bring them toward the top of your mat. And then walk your feet back. And if you want a plank, take it. Find your downward facing dog with the wall or the blocks. Lifting your tailbone high into the air, stretching long with your spine. And drop your knees to the ground. Take your blocks away off to the side. And hands come to the ground, and then take a cow and a cat. Drop your belly down, look up, inhale. Exhale, round your back and let your head drop. Inhale, come to neutral. And exhale, swing one hip to the floor. And come to sitting on one hip. Your top leg could rest somewhere on your bottom leg, or you could slide it back. Maybe nestling your thigh to your bottom of your other foot. So you've kind of got this little like semicircle around you with your legs. Take a twist toward the top of your mat. So one hand may hook to your front thigh or knee. The other fingers can rest on the ground or a block. If your legs are here closer together, that's also a great option. Broaden your collarbones. Lift up and away from the floor. One more inhale. And exhale, release that, let it go. You can swing your legs out in front of you or shift to the other side, whichever makes more sense to you. For your opposite side twist, hook your hand to your front knee or thigh. Other hand can find the floor. And lift up like a proud siren at sea. Your legs can stack, or you can take this top leg a little further back. Nestle the thigh to the bottom of your foot. One more inhale, exhale, release, let it go. And we're going to take the legs out in front. You can be facing any direction you choose. Have a little bend in the knees and take your legs a little wider than hip width distance apart. Just like we did when we were standing, now we're doing it on its side. So we're seated. You can slide your hands down your legs or have hands on the ground or take blocks if you've got them. Maybe your hands come to some blocks. Give your back a chance to lengthen out. With the knees bent here, this isn't so much about stretching the backs of the legs as it is giving the low back some room. Let your spine be long and expansive. relax, you can take them away off to the sides. And then pick for yourself what's going to be the top of your mat. It doesn't really matter. Just wherever you feel most comfortable with your head resting. This is the time to take that bolster or cushion or pillow. You can have it flat, just like this. Or you could use a block underneath it for a little bit of lift, maybe even both blocks. So it all depends on what you're craving. This is a great option to just have this pillow on the ground here. If you don't have a pillow at all, then you may want to choose lying on your side rather than on your back, particularly if you are further along in your pregnancy. If you've got blocks that you want to use, pick up this bolster and slide one block up at the top. Now if it's on the lowest setting, then that might be enough of an incline for you right there. If you want it a little higher, you may want your second block. So if it comes up to the second height, then the other block will come in on the first height. You might want to adjust, make sure that the bolster is gonna have somewhere to go rather than tipping over. And then if you want it a little taller, even still, then just adjust one block up, the other block up, and rest that bolster down again. The blocks might go a little further apart the taller that they are. You can play around getting the spot where the bolster can be this nice incline and be supported. And it does not matter whether you're close to the ground on your side, whether you're resting on just the pillow, or whether you're using blocks under the bolster. All that matters is that we're coming to a place of rest. So make this a spot where you feel like your body can come to a place of rest. Take your hips and scoot them up toward the bolster or pillows, and then lay back. So your back is supported. And if you don't have any support for your back, again, you may want to turn to your side. Just use your intuition. Use your connection to your body. Maybe your legs fall wide, or maybe they extend out in front of you. Let your hands rest, maybe on your belly. Maybe one on your belly and one on your heart, or anywhere else that feels comfortable and safe. They could just rest on the floor. Give yourself a little gratitude for coming to your mat today. And show yourself and your baby lots of love and compassion, forgiveness and acceptance. Rest in the present moment, reclining in a place of ease, release, and relief. Let your eyes close or turn your gaze to the tip of your nose. Let your face relax. Become aware of your breath. Rest here for a few minutes. without opening your eyes at first, just listening for the sounds. Feel the clothes on your skin or the mat or the pillow. And start to awaken some sensation with movement, maybe wiggling fingers and toes. If you're on your side, you can use your hands to press yourself up and find a comfortable seat. If you're reclining, you can use your hands to lift. Or if your pillow's low to the ground, you may still want to roll over to your side before you lift up. Make your way to your comfy seat. Even if that's in a chair, you can find your chair. Maybe take your bolster and sit up on your bolster. We'll end class similar to the way we began, seated in a neutral position and just taking some time to connect to the breath, taking a few deep breaths. And we'll take them together even though we are apart. You can take your hands together in front of your chest, let them rest on your belly or your thighs. Eyes open or closed. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. In through your nose and out through your mouth. In through your nose and out through your mouth. In and out. Bring your hands together in front of your chest. The light and love in me honors the light and love in you. Together, we nod our heads and say namaste. Namaste. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. I hope you feel connected, strong, and with a sense of love and light. It might be really nice to journal a little bit after your practice. So if you enjoy journaling, that might be something to do. Take care of yourself and drink lots of water. Be well. Namaste.